Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the breakfast show. Unplanned breakfast show. Let's get rid of the music. Sorry, music, but this is a breakfast show with a difference. It's normally pretty relaxed. Hate to say it, this one is interesting, so I'm turning the music off. It's not relaxed. It's important. When I started the Sandro project, I said it's going to work on Windows, everything. Absolutely everything. I said my code will run anywhere. Well, I've got to correct that statement now. It will compile anywhere. In 2018, Apple made a decision to deprecate OpenGL. Now, I'm not an outside world person and I didn't know about this until yesterday when I received an Apple Mac. Here we go. How do I get into it? Any ideas? No, don't do that button. These keys don't do what these keys are supposed to do because it's not an Apple keyboard. That's the first thing I found out. The next thing I found out is that's not my screensaver. So my screen. Okay. The screen I chose for today was this one. I hope it doesn't decide to change it. Okay. On with the show. This is an operating system that looks a bit like Windows, and funnily enough, the first thing that I realised is it didn't have a terminal, so I had to find that. C-Line I didn't expect it to have. Programming support, it had none at all, so that was interesting, just like Windows doesn't really. So it's very much Windowsy, except it doesn't have OpenGL. It has something called Metal. Now, I did have to install something called Homebrew, so I have this thing here, which you can't see probably. There we go. Got Brew and everything now installed. So I've got SDL2, I've got my CGLM, I got my glue, I got my everything. It took me a while to work out exactly how to get OpenGL to work on C-Lion. It's not their fault. Trust me, it definitely isn't their fault. So here's the project we're working on. This is exactly the same code that's on the machine that we'll be using this afternoon, which is going to be Linux. We'll be developing on Linux. So if you, in the make list, the only things I had to change were to take GL out of here, because it doesn't exist, and at the top I had to do link directories. CGLM is actually part of Brew, or Homebrew as it's called, get it off the internet, and I had to set a couple of flags for the OpenGL framework. Yeah. Shall we see what happens? It's interesting. It really is interesting. I mean, If I had a choice, I would continue on this platform and carry on developing. Not a problem. But you can't run the code on this platform, you see. Rebuild all in debug. There we go. There's the warnings. Build finished. So by using that framework OpenGL, we can build. But look at the warning. It's a CLang warning. To get CLang, by the way, it's not standard on the Mac. You have to download not that one. One of these buttons. Xcode. You have to download the Xcode developer tools to get everything. And once I'd do that first before opening CLang, to be honest with you. I haven't tried Xcode. I don't know what the IDE is like, but from what I've seen of it so far, it's an average IDE. It's nothing special. It's not special like this thing that I'm looking at is, where it absolutely does help you. So main.c, it's all the same still. Everything's exactly the same. It's the same set. It's all the same files. All I did was take them off a server, off the backup server. What happens when we run it? Now I will run in debug mode to show you. So I'll run sand rogue, please. Does exactly the same. Everything is exactly the same up until this point. Yeah. This brings me on to the first problem that I have with a Mac, but it isn't a problem at all. In fact, it's a great solution. It's mothering people. You buy an Apple Mac, you buy not just an operating system, but an operating system that looks after you. So as soon as you see something like this, you've got to say to yourself, hold on a minute, something I'm doing might not quite be to the liking of Apple. So let's see if I've got a password for this. I hope I put a password in for this. Let's try and take control of that process. There we go. Right, let's try and run again. Well, you can see the problem that I'm having already. Can we actually run it this time? Yes, we do. There we go. That's correct. So taking control of the process, which is writing to the screen, by the way. The screen is a secure area which Apple Mac protects, quite rightly so, because of key logging and hacks like that. Oh, by the way, to show you this, I actually had to hack it. Yes, I had to hack my own Apple Mac to be able to display what you are seeing. I'm not allowed to tell you anything about how the hack works or how I did it. All I'm allowed to say is that I did it. Then I don't breach copyright. The copyright states that this operating system can only run on an Apple machine, which it is doing. It doesn't say anything about being able to display it on Twitch. Or I know legally I'm allowed to hack my own software because I own it, as long as it isn't up for download to the outside world, which it isn't. I already sorted that out. So, EXE bad access. Interesting. Let's have a look at the console. OpenGL version 4.1, Intel 14.7.8. That's not what I asked for. Problem is, that's what we've got. I asked for 3.3 because I know that the Apple Mac can run 3.3. If you remember, there was I said there's reasons for me going for 3.3. In 2018, they stopped support, so OpenGL version 4.1 isn't supported. You can't run OpenGL version 4.1 on an Apple Mac. So that's the first problem we have got with the Apple. I will not be continuing to support running of software on the Apple Mac. I will continue to support, how can you put it, the building of the binaries on the Apple, but not how to run it. The reason for it is I've decided that we are going to have another series later on doing Apple Mac Bare Metal, their version of OpenGL, which does work. And to be quite honest with you, I want to talk more about that than I do about this mothering system, which is okay, except it doesn't know which keyboard I'm using. The mouse wheel was upside down. What else was wrong with that? Yeah, it reset the background to my window, my desktop. That wasn't funny. And this bottom tray thing, well, it comes with everything I suppose you're going to need. But it doesn't seem to want to support the developer much. And this is interesting. This is a big choice by Apple that they made 2 years ago. And people will say that that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's an indication of what's to come. Apple don't expect this platform to survive. And unfortunately, I agree with them. It won't survive. The current format is Linux. Look, it's Linux. I'll show you. Look, this is Linux. LS. It's Linux. This is why the Apple OS is proprietary and copyrighted. Because I don't think they want most people to know that what you've got is Arch Linux. Without, well, it's just Manjaro. That's why I'm so easily and happily able to use it. There is no transfer. There's nothing new here. Yes, the programs look different. They call it Mac OS or OS X, as in X11, which is what you get with Arch Linux. Yeah, so they took the cheap option. They took Linux, they built upon it, they developed their own software and threw it out there and called it their own. Fantastic, well done, Apple. But their developers are just as bad as Windows developers, and unfortunately, it's better. Is it better programming on here? No. Are you getting quality software? No. Are you getting a quality operating system? No. You're just getting a different one. In fact, no, you're getting the same one with a different... You're getting Linux, but visually different. Oh, that was the other thing that I couldn't find. That button there. To do that, and to get little Macintosh HD up here, took me about 30 minutes. I must admit, I didn't realise that this computer didn't come with this. It comes with AirDrop, Recents, Applications, Desktop, Documents and Downloads. Took me a little while to work out, hold on a minute, I've got to go through all of the preferences, haven't I? So I spent 2 hours going through all the preferences, and hey, hold, I found a little button you could click, and this came up. This was provided for me. Interesting. But it's there. I've got a little exec button here for Sandrogue. Yeah, that's good. The windowing system, very nice, very smooth. Speed, as you saw, very nice, very smooth. It's an i3. So this is an old machine, an Intel i3. And they are selling an Intel i3 with Linux and their own software on it for 750? I think it was £750, which is $1,000 US or so. It's a beautiful machine, but it still doesn't know all about my keyboard. I found the @ symbol. I found the pound symbol. I've put my quotes back up above number 2. A couple of the keys, they're just not there, which is fine. Absolutely fine. I don't mind because I don't use those ones. Not for programming anyway. So, is it a platform you can program on? Definitely 100%. Is it a platform you should use CLion on? Definitely 100%. Should you use Xtools? Probably. Will I be using Xtools? No. Not when I've got a better system. Why should I downgrade to what they want me to use? I'm not that kind of person. So the future of Apple, they have the vision that the PC is not going to survive in the future. I agree with that. PCs are used for games, and so are games consoles. So PCs are now degraded to being used in offices, for office work, which this is quite capable of and very powerful for. It's fantastic for that. In the home, I don't think you're going to see much more in the way of gaming PCs. I think that what will happen next, I think in the next 10 years, is we will see them disappearing. And the idea of having to have the latest and greatest graphics card is going to die as well, because only one of my machines actually has a graphics card in. That's amazing. Even the Manjaro machine doesn't have a proper graphics card in. It's got something from like the year 2020. This obviously uses the graphics off the chip or some specialized graphics. I don't know how to find out. I have no idea how to find out what's on this machine. Must be a preferences setting for it. I couldn't find it. So yeah, this is still running. Better stop it here. So would I buy the better one? Most certainly yes. 100%. Do I want an Apple Mac? The greatest and latest? Yes. Oh yes, please. A few £1,000 stood on my desk. Yes. Would I then program my next program on the Apple Mac? Oh yes. And I would love to do that. But not this program, because it's full of OpenGL commands. And I would have to somehow put OpenGL 3.3 onto this machine, and right now I don't have the time to spend on it. So I want to be getting my doors done. So sorry Apple Mac, you are going to be placed into reserve as a reserve machine in case the old 20-year-old computer dies on me. Yeah, 20 years old, and we're building a program on it that a Mac can't run. Wow. That outdates a Mac. Wow. I'm not sad to see the end of OpenGL on the Mac. I think it's a good way forward. I haven't tried Metal yet. I've tried Vulkan. Vulkan does convert to metal. Vulkan's brilliant. The only reason I'm using OpenGL is because it's more widely used. God knows why. I think the days of OpenGL are probably limited as well. I think the idea of all of this software is probably pretty now has a life expectancy. And that doesn't worry me. It just means that I'm going to have to be able to complete this program within my lifetime. That may mean we don't get a full Sandrogue. What love. What I'm going to do is I'll build a prototype in Sandrogue and we'll go from there. Let's have a look, see what we've got on here now. Safari, interesting browser. Compared to Opera, very lacking. Launchpad, I've got that screen already, as you know, available to me already on Arch Linux. Nothing new there. Mail, a bit weird on setup. It couldn't work out, you know. There's a discount voucher if anybody wants it. I won't be using it. FaceTime, not interested in. Messages, it tells me. Maps, shows me where I am, thank you. This is not a mobile. Photos, haven't taken any. Contacts, haven't got any on here. Calendar, very nice. Reminders, no thanks. Notes, yes please. Numbers, what is numbers? Oh. Oh, you can't shut the window. Okay. Have to continue then. There we go. Can we shut this one? There we go. Keynote. What's this? A presentation app. Okay, we'll quit that then. Pages. Word processor ever designed? Yeah, right. Because I know which word processor they're using behind the scenes. The App Store, which is where you go to develop and you find your Xcode, which of course is open. I've never run it, so you have to run it once to accept the license and agreement before you can even start developing on this machine. That I think is so funny. Yeah. We have the system settings. There was a load of other stuff, but I binned it because it was just uninteresting. Things like TV were on here. Music was on here. That's a bit useless because I've got no speakers on it. Yeah. That good, huh? The terminal wasn't on here. I found it by accident and then just asked it to stay on here. So I don't know how to get it on here at all. I don't know if you just click somewhere. Oh, there's dock preferences. Okay. So yeah, I think you can just drag things out of here onto this dock thing. All of this lot could really go. I mean, options. Remove from dock, don't really need you. Is that me mail? Yeah. FaceTime, don't really need you. Oh no. Yeah. From dock. Messages, I shouldn't be getting messages on here. I'm having problems with the mouse. The mouse is not an Apple mouse, so yeah, problems. I do have one on the way, thank God, that will work on here. What is this anyway? Photos. No, I'm not going to be placing photos on here. Contacts will not be on here. You see what the problem is? I will never be using the calendar. I'll never be using the reminders. It's a development machine, notes I will. numbers, spreadsheets, display things, pages, app store, preferences. That's all I need. C-line, of course. Downloads is interesting. So you can see I put SDL2 on. Very interesting. I think that's how I realised that Finder was like the browser. So yeah, that's it. This is the Apple Mac. Do I like it? Yes, I do. I really do like it. This is an i3. It's fast, as you can see. It's probably as good as an i7 on Windows. But that's because they're using Linux as the backing system, the background system. There you go. It's quite interesting, isn't it, that you can buy a very, very cheap, by today's standards, processor and make it work so well. And that's what they've achieved. They have achieved something that the average PC can't achieve. They've done the things that I complained about on Windows. But what they haven't done is removed themselves away from Windows yet. They are starting to. They are starting to. These little black boxes that you can get will become games consoles probably. Very expensive games consoles, but games consoles all the same. The actual workstations that they do will be office-based only. Mind you, they're already in that price range, so. And at least you don't have to click on stop or start to shut down. There you go. This is interesting. Reopen Windows when logging back in. That tells me that it's Linux. That was my first hesitation. I'm thinking, hold on a minute, this operating system I've met before. So that's really that. Any comments? Anyone? No? Okay. So, conclusions. Would I say go out and buy yourself a Mac? Yes, but not an expensive one. There's no point. These little diddy boxes at like £700 or £800 are fine. They will be hands down. Anything up to an i7. I can't say above that because I haven't got that to test against. Gaming performance, I'm not interested, so I can't give you a gaming performance. I don't play games. Otherwise, it's been a very, very good investment. It's going to be something that I will be using in the future for a series. It won't be a full series, it will be a side series because it is niche. They are trying to get away from the idea of being a PC. And I think they're quite successful in doing so. And that's the way you should look at it. Have a good day. I'll be back this afternoon with Doors. Yes, we're doing Doors this afternoon. It'll be an open and shut case. So day 16. Day 16 of our project. Wow. Why is this rubber not working? Thank you, I'm just mending my notes. Got the dates in wrong. There we go. This afternoon we're going to do some work with Doors, and I'm going to go and play now on the Mac, do some metal, I think. You never know. Take care. I'd say don't do anything that I would do, but have fun. Try and have a bit of fun. Take care, peeps. Where's that goddamn stop button?